happen. But that's what boat building is all about. It's plenty of prep and a minimal amount of work. So. It's like a scene out of The Great Escape. Freaking hell. This tunnel here, or underneath the floor here of my starboard cabin. It's amazing what you tolerate for years working, and then one day you just have an epiphany and you can be asked to move a fan into the place downstairs. Now, I don't like the noise of it, that's the only problem. I'm going to apologise in advance for the audio quality. I've just discovered that if I put a fan down here, I can drop the temperature by about 6 or 7 degrees, so that's cool. And I've actually got another one here, so I'm in the middle of the vortex because it's about 38 right now, and you know, it's not rocket science, is it, Roscoe? It's just not rocket science. Now, I've ordered polyethylene fuel tanks from a manufacturer because they needed to be survey tested and pressure tested to hold diesel here in Australia under the Australian Maritime Safety. But the water tanks, I'm going to make them integrated into the hull, which means I need to have a bilge pump on either side of that bulkhead. I don't care if the water tank leaks a little bit, but I need a bilge pump on each side to deal with it, because it will in fact block the whole hull. I'll get better capacity, and I can also you know, get that complete quicker rather than waiting for a bespoke tank to be made, which probably won't even do the job anyway. So around about 300 litres each side I'm aiming for in my build. So I'm going to use an existing bulkhead. Now, this one actually belongs under this companionway over here at the end of that fuel tank. So the great thing about this is it's almost so close to the other one. I'm going to cut an MDF template and then trim it down rather than get the chain jig in under that bulkhead over there, because it's going to be a bit of an effort. But I'll use this one. You'll notice this mark here. It's actually going to be lower than the floor level. I'm going to allow around 10 centimetres on top of the floor, on top of the tank, to allow for pumps and for hoses and you know, any sort of extra plumbing I need to fit in there. So I'm going to cut this one across here, and then I'll be able to see if it fits, and then hopefully it'll transfer to the other side, which I'll do an exact replica on the other side. So I've got 300 here, 300 on the other side there. One thing you don't realise when you build a boat, like if I was building a monohull, you go down into the hull and you're there. With this bastard, you're up, down, 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 up, down. Hot work, guys, hot work. Right, so I'm down in the build again, but I think the 80th time today. Got my tunes on in the background, but I'm trying to work out the water tank, and my water tank's actually going to be integrated into the hull. So I'm going to put a bulkhead, another bulkhead, and then a centre baffle with holes in it to allow the water to flow in between and equalise. So I ended up with sloshing of 150 litres going from one end to the other. So it's a 300 litre tank, 2 end bulkheads, and a centre. And I think that should suffice. I've done a bit of reading. That seems to be the way to go. So I've used one of the existing templates of the bulkhead, which is about 2 or about a foot and a half back from this one. And this one here is going to form the back end or the stern end of my water tank, so hopefully it'll fit. Right, so this here is the stern end of my freshwater tank, and that bulkhead up there, you can see there, I've actually, luckily I haven't cut out the limber holes yet because I'm not going to, is the forward end or the bow end of my water tank. I've got to make a baffle somewhere in the middle here, which will just be another bulkhead with some holes in it, so it'll stop the water from flowing back and forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to avoid lifting this bulkhead, the 2 modules out. I'm going to try to chain jig it while it's actually inside the underneath the floor here. Hopefully I'll be able to get in there enough to be able to get a chain jig going. It's not going to be that dissimilar to the back one, but it certainly will be narrower. Going to need a bit of CAD here, a bit of cardboard aided design, but that's pretty much in the perfect spot. I think I need another biscuit on this side. I want to go full height, and then I'm going to cut it back down. I find that a bit easier than sort of half doing it. It's like a scene out of The Great Escape. Freaking hell. And yeah, she's a bit tight in there. I'm telling you, I'm a bit over being in there, but it took me about 10 minutes to get that done. So 10 minutes was long enough. It was like having a freaking MRI in there. The things you do, eh? The things you got to do to get shit done just cracks me up. Under there, you got to get under and get it out without altering. And you could. It's not very level. I have to try to get it level. That's going to be a bit of a challenge until I lift the roof out, or the floor out, because that's got to come down about 5 centimetres or so. But you know, it's in there, and I should be able to cut a foam core version of that straight away, and then you know, get these in straight away virtually. So you get the idea. This is what I'm aiming for. Is this. So this bulkhead here you're looking at here is actually this one. Another one here with a couple of limber holes in the middle and along the top, and then the forward one is actually the proper bulkhead. So I can essentially look in here now, and there's the second bulkhead in there, and then there's another one in front of that. So that's my water tank, guys. That's how I'm going to do it. I'll show you a picture of how that's going to be done, and we'll go on from there. The time's come to work out where the fuel tank fits, and I've made my template. I've just got to make some smaller bulkheads with some limber holes in them with a V in them to carry the load of the tank. I can't just sit the tank on the bottom because I want to have a clear flow of water underneath to the build. So I'm going to do a chain jig of each of the sections with a small flat edge on it as well. I think I haven't quite worked that out yet, but I think that's going to be more than enough to support 300 odd kilos. Shouldn't be an issue with the foam core, but it's going to have to all be sealed and tabbed in just like a bulkhead. Okay, so this is the first of my fuel tank bulkheads. It's going to be around about here and down, and then it'll have a notch in it with a V in it to hold the tank. Okay, so you see what I'm getting at here. This idea is to hold the tank in a cradle, and then what I plan to do, whether I do it or not, is to put some holes in here, reinforce them with carbon or something, or you know, multiple layers of quadraxial or something, so that I can then strap over the tank from one to the other. You can see what I'm trying to achieve here. I've actually put this chain jig in here. I need around about probably 50 millimeters or 2 inches on either side of the fuel tank here as a brace, and then I'm going to cut a V in it. But I'm trying to ascertain the height here, so I'm going to have to level this tank up and make sure that I can get a reasonable level all the way through. The issue is that it gets a bit narrower as we get towards the engine room there, where the strap mounts are across here. In fact, the tank's around the wrong way, but where the strap mounts are, that's where I want to have these braces so I can tie this into the hull. I have all my, these are the fuel tank bracing templates for the bulkheads that I'm going to put in. What I'm going to do each one of these at the top and cut it out. So I guess a few of you are thinking that these bulkheads are going to impart quite a pressure point on the bottom of my tank, or on the bottom edge of my tank. What I intend to do, and I haven't quite worked out exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm thinking possibly a slack bed arrangement like you'd put under a mattress,
or even increasing these bulkhead tops or the surfaces that are touching the tank to make it a little wider, just to increase the surface area that's actually touching the tank. Now, it is a polyethylene tank, and now that I've received them, I can tell you that they're around about 1 centimetre thick, so there's a substantial thickness to deal with, or they have substantial thickness. And the great thing is that I think it's probably going to just require some extra width on the top of the bulkheads rather than a full slat bed. Now, I'm open to any suggestions, but I haven't quite done that yet, even at the time I'm publishing this video. The next part of the process is to do the other side. Now, because I'm building a catamaran and not a yacht, you guys get the absolute pleasure of watching me do it all twice. So I'm going to speed this side up just to make it a little bit more interesting for you. I'm not going to go through the detail like I did before, but as you can see, it's a lot of lifting, a lot of moving, but the thing is I get to do everything twice, and that's the great thing about it. So I should be pretty good at what I'm doing by the time I've done it twice, you'd think anyway. So enjoy this, guys. This is the fitting of the starboard side bulkheads.
It's a little bit of an exciting day. Up until now, everything that has been in the hull here, like absolutely everything, has been made by me. It's time to start introducing some foreign bodies, some aliens into the mix. Bang. My fuel tanks have arrived, and they're pretty impressive. They're polyethylene rotational molded. I was going to look at aluminium, looked at making fiberglass. I mean, these ones are pressure tested, survey rated, and come with all the fittings and centers and everything ready to go. Okay, so you can see here we've got some rebates here to put straps so I can tie them down. Also gives it extra strength on the top here. We've got a breather valve here, and down the bottom here, sender, intake and return, and then a filler spout here as well. And you'll notice also that it's actually been pressure tested, and it has a badge on it stating the date of manufacture. Now I need to leave that on for survey requirements, but these are pretty cool. It's actually got a baffle through the centre of it to stop any you know, wave action. So it's got quite a large baffle right up through the centre of it here that you know, will reduce that action that happens inside a tank. Yep, so pretty happy with that. I'm going to try and put one in. They're bloody heavy. I reckon they're about 35 kilos, so you know, probably well worth the investment. And they weren't that expensive, to be honest. I couldn't have made it for any less. I think, you know, they're about 750 Australian each, and about 200 bucks to get them delivered, both of them, with Richard, our kayak courier. I want to do a dry fit, but it could be permanent. Depending on how hard it is to get in. I've still got a lot of work to do down here, but I've got to set it in to make sure that I've got my dimensions right. Very cool. Very, very cool. Man, they are absolutely
So Blackwater, bulkhead, fuel tank, all providing structure, but also, you know, nice and solid. They're actually pretty much wedged in there. I've got a lot of room for my services in. Should be able to do it through the back of a cupboard or through a floor hatch. There's a couple of accesses along here. There's one there over the fuel sender. I'm considering putting another one in here so that I can get to each side of this, because there's a lot of room here for strainers and all this other work that I could keep out of the engine room, which would be nice to be able to service it. Service filters, water filters and all that sort of stuff. But yep, for now the water tank actually starts here and goes forward underneath this robe module here. So all my services are all in one place. I've got access to everything.
So I've learned a couple of lessons this week. One of which is not to use music I take off the internet, because I've had a couple of copyright claims made on some of my videos. So I've actually erased some of the songs on my earlier videos. If you go back to like episode 1 or episode 2, I think you'll find there's some music missing, and there's a good reason for that, because there's no way I'm going to give up my rights to my videos. I'm going to from now on use only the YouTube approved music. That could be a little bit limited, but don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to click like and make a comment. I love the comments, and I'll see you next time on Life on the Hulls. Catch you guys, bye.